What is going on, everybody? We are back at the top of another Savage stream. I don't know if we're red or black, or red or black. Was that like a... Was that roulette wheel? Yeah, no. Let's see. I haven't checked the market. Yeah, we're green. All right, so that's good. Red or green. We'll switch over to green. Sound good? I like green. It's all good. In this video, we are going to mine Beam. Again, we've been on Beam this whole week. We're going to use HiveOS and NVIDIA GPUs, and we'll also take a look at some pool options that will allow us to decentralize the Beam network hash rate while also experiencing a solid, understandable payout method, which is one of the things that is missing from Beam from the best that I can tell. Like I said all week, I haven't been mining Beam for a while. I kind of distanced myself from the project a little bit only because of the payout methods and all that stuff. You know, being a miner, it's a little bit rough, okay? You know, to get payouts from Beam because of the Mimblewimble protocol, having to have both wallet, sender and receiver wallets online at the same time. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more tonight, because you can see that Leaf Pool is still in the lead as far as the most hash rate. They have over 50% of the hash rate. And, you know, if you put your mouse over the top one, it says, you know, this pool has more than 50% of the pool's hash rate. Please consider mining in other pools. So I went through some of these and I found a couple that might actually have something pretty cool going, and we are going to talk about that tonight. So that's just one of the drawbacks of the Mimblewimble protocol, is both the wallet sending and receiving wallets have to be online for the payment to go through. And like I said, this is a challenge for miners and users actually, but it's just one of those things, because if you want extreme privacy that Beam offers, you have to sacrifice a little bit of convenience because they work inversely proportional to each other. So it's one of those things you kind of just have to deal with. Let's get into it. We are going to use HiveOS for this exercise, or for this video. The link is in the description to HiveOS. And this video assumes that you already have registered an account and are able to log on and all that with a valid email address and all that. So we're going to skip over that part as far as registering, but basically you would just go to sign in and follow the prompts. It's pretty easy. It's just like basically any other website that you sign up to. It's just like that. You have to give them a little bit of information, just contact information, just email address. I believe that's all you have to do. Create a password, and then boom, they send you like a validation email. Once it's validated, then you're able to log on and you're good, right? So it's really just an email address, and that's pretty much it. So that is where we are going to assume that you already have that. So let's go ahead and go through the image download. So you would click install here. We're going to go through the whole thing again. I'm going to download the image and everything. Well, I already downloaded it, but we're going to burn it again. I like covering that almost every episode, because people ask about it all the time. Like, oh, I really want to use Hive, but I don't know how, you know. So it's good to get this out of the way, like at the very beginning. So you would go here, and if you're on a GPU, you would just click zip or torrent, whichever one you want to do it. I always do zip. And you can see here, actually, I've already downloaded it. I can verify just looking at the numbers that it's the same. It hasn't been updated. So we'll just go with that. You would just click save and save it in a download location. And then you're going to want to remember where that's at. And in this case, I'm going to be using a small 32 gig Samsung USB drive. That's what we're going to use to boot off of. And let's fire up Ballina Etcher. Now these instructions, I believe, are down here. Yeah. So they go over the instructions here, what to do. And I think it's pretty good instructions. I don't think that there's any problems with it, other than they mention, you know, another tool here, Rufus. Not a big deal, but I use Etcher, so that's what we're going to use. So we have to fire up Ballina Etcher. And it looks like this. So you would have to download it. The link is right here to it. You would have to download it. Select the image. This is the image you want to select. You don't have to extract it ahead of time. It knows that it's a zip file, and it'll pull the IMG file out of it. So that's good. Select the target. Let's go ahead and insert the USB drive. Now, this one was already formatted and stuff. It already has HiveOS on it, probably. No, it's actually SMOS. Okay, so I used this last night. All right, or the night before. So we're gonna go back to, so we're gonna be wiping this out. So we're gonna go to Flash. So, well, yeah, I kind of jumped ahead there. Okay, no. All right, so you wanna verify that this is correct. This is the drive that I just inserted, and that's good. And then I always show this, the tools up here, make sure that this is off because you need to access the disk right away, or the drive right away after it burns, because you need to modify a file on there or actually drop a file on there. So I always turn that off. I always turn this one off, especially for streams, just because it's faster. All right, so we're going to click Flash. And then yes. And then that'll start. And while that is going, we will talk a little bit more about Beam. As you're probably aware, they have a new algorithm, Beam Hash 3. That's kind of what prompted me to do some content on Beam. And yeah, it's called Beam Hash 3, and it's their third, probably their last fork to a new algorithm. But they forked at block 777, 777, the super lucky block. Love those numbers. But that was whenever they forked to the newest and most likely their final consensus mechanism called Beam Hash 3. Now, a little bit more about the actual protocol. I think it's important to cover this kind of stuff just so that you're kind of aware of and what to expect. But it is a variation of Equihash 1505 proof of work. I think it's actually 15,5,3, I believe. Proof of work algorithm, and it's an upgrade to the previous Beam Hash 2, pretty obviously. Beam Hash 3 is more memory intensive, which causes it to saturate a GPU's memory bandwidth and hopefully make it very difficult to mine with FPGAs or centralized ASICs. Someone could create a bit stream for an FPGA, but the algo would saturate the memory controller so much that it wouldn't be more profitable than a GPU, really. So they'd be better off pointing their bit streams elsewhere, or go like the cheaper route and just buy a GPU instead, right? So let's deal with a little bit of hardware leaks. Now, I don't know, this is not any validation, I'm not really into the hardware side of things, but apparently there's the 3080. I think SerpentX Special Forces has some content on the 3080. Brandon Coin, I think, several others. I don't know. I'm not into the hardware side of it that much, but apparently the upcoming 3080 Ti is approximately 21 teraflops of floating point 32 performance. Now, math, and that's one of the things that mining uses, is that floating point math. The upcoming, now that's the 3080, and now I think even more speculation and even more probably like not true information is the 6900 XT. I don't know. I just found these two articles really quick right before the stream, and I wanted to bring it up here while I was talking about it. So at least I had something on the screen. But this could be like totally fake. I don't know. But apparently the 6900 XT is going to be 21 teraflops as well. That's floating point 32 performance, and both of them, both the 3080 and the 6900 XT, are 7 nanometer manufacturers. So should be pretty interesting. I mean, I haven't heard much about this at all. The 3080 is making a little bit of waves only because I've seen other content creators talk about it. So I thought that was kind of cool to bring up. We'll see what happens, but there's a reason I'm pointing this out, is because of the 21 teraflops of calculations of floating point math. So there is, let's see here, one of the current FPGAs, I don't know which one. I asked Nemesis, I don't know if he's over there yelling at me about FPGAs yet, but apparently one of the current FPGAs that are used for mining in the Squirrel Research FPGA is the Squirrel Research FPGA, and that is 16.5 teraflops. I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's this one. I didn't read all the specs for each one. I don't know if it's the Forest Kitten. I don't know if it's the older one, the BCU 1525. I don't know. one of them anyway, one of them, if I'm not looking at the chat, so I'm not going to get distracted, but one of them does 16.5 teraflops. Maybe he's telling everybody right now, and that's fine. But FPGAs are semiconductor devices that are designed with configurable logic blocks, CLBs. All are connected via programmable hardware level circuits. And all this is on this article over here that I was going through. Some FPGAs can even compile OpenCL code just like a GPU. If the algo can be streamlined, you could create an FPGA bitstream that is 20 times as fast per watt. Okay, so that is significant for an FPGA. But there is one algorithm that cannot be streamlined, and that's Kryptonite GPU. It's full NIST compatible floating point math. The resulting bitstream that you would create for CN GPU ends up being 16.5 teraflops, which, as stated earlier, is the same as a high-end GPU. Okay, so this is one algorithm that apparently cannot be, basically made more efficient on an FPGA. Okay, so with BeamHash 3, it looks kind of like this as far as where it lands on the spectrum of proof of work landscape, and you can see it right here. Actually, I can't put the mouse over it because this is actually a scene on my OBS here. So the BeamHash 3 there is, towards memory heavy and a little bit in between ASIC friendly and ASIC unfriendly. Okay, but you can see all the other algorithms on there, other more common ones. So it kind of gives you an idea of where BeamHash 3 actually ends up on the spectrum there. So I thought that was a pretty good little graphic to kind of take a look at and see what is going on there with how it works out. All right, so we got done with our burning. It looks like the image is done. So let's go ahead and do what we need to do over there. So if we go back here, this is the rig that we are going to be using, and it's the NVIDIA rig, little 6 GPU NVIDIA rig that I have. And we are going to, the way that you would get the file that you need a rig.conf file with some settings inside of it that allows the rig that you plug it into to actually talk to the interface, talk to the dashboard for HiveOS so that your rig shows up. Now mine's already in here, but we just burned a new image, so it's going to basically assume the same identity, which is fine, but you'll see it go away because I'm going to actually power this down right now. So you'll see this go away, and then we will use the new one. So I'm going to shut that down. So you'll see that go offline here. All right, so it's off. Probably hear a little bit better, a little less background noise here. But the way that you would get a new rig in here, let's say that if this was blank, then you would come up here and go to the little plus sign, add a worker. You would give it a name, and then whatever parameters you wanted, tags and stuff, description, whatever, GPU or ASIC, in this case it's GPU, and then you would click add. Okay, so that would be how you would get to that. And let's see, so then you would have a new rig here, or a new name here, and then you would click on that. Actually, hang on, let's see. If you go to, because it hasn't talked yet, so that's not going to work. Okay, so it's not going to work the way that I thought. So because it hasn't, you haven't booted up into this and had it connect, you're not going to be able to get to it. What I was talking about getting to. Now that screen does have what you need on it. It's the rig.conf file. But if it's already in here like this one, you would click on settings over here. And then right around in this area, I'm not going to do it because there's some sort of private info on there. So the settings here, and then rig.conf over here, it'll be around in this area. You'll click that and download it to the USB, to the root of the USB. So let me think about this. I've already, let's see. All right. Yeah, I should have, I think I already had, let me let me check here. Let me look around for a second here, because I think I already have this one downloaded. Let me do a quick search here. All right. Yeah, I already have it. And I'm just going to copy the rig.conf file to the USB drive. I'm just cleaning up a little bit of mess here so I can show you. Now, for some reason, the USB drive is no longer showing up. So I'm going to remove it, add it back in. Maybe I left eject on success checked. I don't know. I thought I unchecked it. But... So the root will look like this. It'll say Hive right here on the drive that you need to access. So you access the Hive drive, okay? And then you're going to copy the rig.conf file that you download from HiveOS to it, just like that. And then inside of here is all your settings for the rig, right? So then we're going to eject that. Then we'll come over here and remove it from the computer, plug it into the cable for the rig. Or actually, yeah, I did that last night too. It's not that, it's all right, here we go. All right, so I got that plugged into the rig, and now we'll power it on. All right, while we're waiting on that for a second, I'm going to check the chat, see what you guys are up to. What is up? I'm gonna totally get distracted here. What's up, Nemesis? What is up, Chancoin? Keith W, what's up, man? Jonas P, Crypto Mikkel. Chris Anderson, what's up, man? Oh, DCA Raid came over? Okay, right on, right on. What's up, Shuby? Jay Bohannon. Serpent, what's up, man? Oh yeah, thanks for the congratulations on 2K. It's only been 2 years. Oh boy. All right, so once we get that up and running, it looks like, yeah, no config. It says no config field in response. I don't know. So we'll go back over to actual Hive and get it, see what's going on over here. So I'm going to refresh this. So it looks like right here, nothing's assigned to it. No flight sheet or anything. Let me get rid of this so that we don't get confused here. All right, and then, so now here's the rig. Now talking, you see it says it's offline because there's nothing going on it. There's no flight sheet or anything like that, I think is what the problem is. Actually, hang on. Looks like maybe, you know, I copied a rig.conf file from an old one. It might not be, might need to grab a different one. Let me look at this again here. Let me think about this. Y'all got me all distracted and everything. Let's see what this thing is doing. Okay, so it thinks. All right, so I have created this rig after the fact, so I need to go and grab, this is part of the problem of doing a lot of content. You know, it's like sometimes you get things mixed up a little bit here. So I had an old rig.conf file that had a different name in it than what is currently the name on HiveOS, so it wasn't going to work. It was like, yo, this does not exist. Why are you trying to make me talk to this? All right, so it should work now. I gotta hurry up because I really want to get to the pool stuff, you know? I'm like way behind here. Shubi, those were for the donation addresses for the charity poker tournament. So it's like how you basically sign up, you know. There's you know, several steps. You have to obviously have a PokerStars account. You have to join the card room, or the club, card club I think is what they call it. You have to join that. All this is in, there's a link in the description down there for this, and anyone can do this. Any viewer, subscriber, follower, whatever. There's a link to the CryptoTubers charity poker tournament details. It's a Google Doc, and you can find out everything you need to find out is in there about how to sign up and what you need to do in order to sign up. But it's a charity poker tournament on July 11th, a week and a half from now or so, and should be a lot of fun. But everybody's invited. It's not something that we're doing just like the YouTubers. It should be lots and lots of people. We want the, you know, the more the better. So I think it'll be super fun. All right, so now we have what appears to be. It still says offline here. Let me do a refresh here just to make sure. All right, so yeah, now it's online, shown online, so that's good. And it's probably, let's see, because it's a new, it's got a new tag and all that stuff. This would be, actually, no, it would have the same one because I used the same rig.conf file. So I'm thinking that this thing should probably pull a config, probably. Yeah, see, it went ahead and pulled the same config that was in there. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, we want to actually mine Beam. We're mining Zel right now. But one thing I wanted to, let me jump back just a little bit here real quick, because this Beam Hash 3 can actually still work on 3 and 4 gigabyte GPUs apparently, but 5 gigabyte and up are more efficient because of, you know, where it lands on the memory heavy scale there. But the cool thing about that is it should make single chip ASIC resistant for the next few years. And what I mean by that is, you know, an ASIC that has one chip and not more than one chip. So if they start making ASICs that have more than one chip, and they probably already are, I'm just saying, that they can program this in to where they could actually make an ASIC for Beam Hash 3. Pretty much any, you know, we talk about this all the time. Pretty much any algorithm could have an ASIC created for it if it's financially, if it financially makes sense, right, to the company that's trying to design it. But Beam Hash 3, you know, it offers network stability for users and GPU miners, and hopefully will support or allow support by the GPU community for several years from now, because they do like the GPU community. You know, they're based on that, so it behooves them to at least appease us in some ways, right? Like, you know, give us something to, give us miners something to do, I guess you could say. So, all right. So it looks like we're mining Zel. All right, let's fix this. We need to mine Beam now. So we're gonna go to, first off, okay, so let me back up a little bit here. We need to find out a pool. That's the very first thing. And in this case, the pools that are inside of HiveOS or built into HiveOS already is not one that offers the capability that we want. Because HashRaptor did a really cool video on receiving Beam payments to a mobile wallet, okay? earlier today, I think it was. And you know, he lays out some of the problems with receiving and actually getting a payout from Beam pools, and it's probably the reason, one of the main reasons as to why so many people use Leaf Pool, because Leaf Pool has the options, as he described in this video, to pay out basically whenever you want. So like you have to go to the site to get the payout, right? And it got me to thinking, I'm like, you know, there has to be other pools that do this. Beam is not a brand new cryptocurrency. It's not a brand new project. So let's figure this out, right? So I went through a few of them, and I found the first one that I found that has the capability is sunpool.top. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but that is the first one that we're going to go to. So if you go to sunpool.top, pretty basic, looks, you know, I mean, a pool doesn't need to be all fancy or anything, okay? But if you look at what's going on here, they have a really cool system here. There's no pool fee. You know, the things that he says, or that the pool operators say right here, all make sense. It's pretty good. I don't disagree with anything that they say in here, so that's good. He also mentions, or they also mention right here, if you need a pool in US or Canada to try this other one, and we'll talk about that too. But let me show you what I'm talking about here with the cool aspect of this. So it uses anonymous user accounts, and it says to use Sunpool anonymously in a secure way, miners need a pair of keys. Basically what it's doing here is it's generating you a Beam key, public key, and a private key. And it does this every time you reload the page. So like you could click here, you could reload the page. Each time it's going to generate you a new public key and a new private key. And you basically just pick the one that you want to use, right? And that's the address that you're going to use to mine to on this pool. So you're going to mine to that address, and then whenever you feel like it, you're going to go and you're going to use your private key to actually make the withdrawal, okay? So we're going to kind of go through this. So in this case, I have my own private key already generated that I was mining to a little bit. I think I used it last night, just playing around with this. So we're going to use that so that we'll be able to get a payout, so I can show you that. All right, and then we are also going to use Mini Z, which is probably the most highest performance Beam Hash 3 miner out there right now. I don't know if Gminer is catching up, and LOL miner is for AMD, and it's an Equihash algorithm, so it's kind of geared more towards NVIDIA GPUs. Okay, so one thing I want you to note, this is SSL. Super important to understand that and to realize that. And this is SSL as well, even though it's got a different option. Okay, it looks different. But keep that in mind whenever we start building our flight sheet. Okay, so let's go over here to HiveOS. We have to do a wallet first. So let's go click on wallets, add a wallet. We're gonna go to Beam. And then what about our address? Okay, well, our address would be from the pool, right? So if we go back, let me close some of these windows so I don't get confused here. So if we go back to the pool, then you would grab this key, for example, and this key, you would document both of these, right? And it needs to be, now this isn't like a wallet, it is a wallet key, but it's not a key that you need to worry about protecting so much unless you have a huge amount that you have on the pool, which I wouldn't recommend that. But what I mean is, like, you could probably just throw this into a text document. As long as you have it somewhere handy for your payouts, you should be good. Now, if you're storing huge amounts on the pool, then ignore what I just said, right? But if you just have like a day's worth of mining and you're, you know, maybe 3 or 4 beams on there or whatever, or 10 beams or whatever, then, you know, it's okay to not worry about, you know, putting this in a safe, in other words, right? Now, don't take me the wrong way. You don't want to treat other private keys that way. You want to secure them, you know, to a wallet, you know, as secure as you can. But in this case, you know, this is just a pool public and private key, okay? Now, so you would document both of these like I did for my mining that I did earlier today. But we're not going to use this one and this one for the exercise. We're going to use the ones I created earlier. So I'm going to go and copy that. I have it in a little text file over here. So pretend like I'm copying this, okay? And then I'm going to go over to the wallet and paste that address in there. I'm going to check, make sure I grabbed the right one. I did. All right, and then we're going to call it beam_YouTube, and then we're going to also say Sunpool, because we need to remember that that's where the address came from. Okay, that will help you remember. Hey, oh yeah, that's where the address is at, because that's important. If you forget and disconnect from the pool and then come back, you know, a year later and want to retrieve those beam that you mined that are still hanging out there, they might be in an address that you no longer have access to. So you need to document all that stuff. All right, so we're going to click create there. So now we created a new Beam wallet. It's down here with the address that was generated on the Sunpool website, or the Sunpool interface. So then we're going to go to Flight Sheets, type in Beam for the coin. The wallet, we'll choose Beam YouTube Sunpool that we just created. And then as you can see right here, we don't have the pool in here. So this is where HiveOS gets a little bit more complicated, because you have to choose configure in miner. Then you have to go and choose the miner. And in this case, we're going to choose Mini-Z. And then you have to go setup miner config. All right, so then you're like, oh my gosh, what do I put in here? Well, the first thing is, you know, this is a 155.3, I believe, is the algorithm, but they have Beam 3 down here. So if you don't scroll down and you choose this one thinking that you're doing the right thing, you're not. You have to choose Beam 3 down here. And then for the wallet and worker template, you can use this right here. And you saw what I did. I just put the mouse over the I, clicked on this, and it put it in there for me. Don't have to type it. For password, you can go X. For the pool server port, now remember, Mini-Z is weird. It's got a weird pool and port information that you have to put in there. But the cool thing is that HiveOS knows that. And all you have to do is put in the pool server and port number. Okay, so if you go back to Sunpool and you go up here to how to mine, I think is where it's at. Yeah, right here. So host address, copy that. And then we're going to go with the primary stratum. So we'll go with that. So we'll come over here and paste that in here. Primary stratum is 3334. All right. Now, for extra arguments, you can put your mouse over the I and go and grab the Mini-Z doc. Go open that up and find out all the different arguments that you can put in here. But I do know that for overclocking, it seems like the best config that you can add in here is just -- or --OCX. And that basically configures your GPUs for the best performance based on the GPUs that you have, from what I understand. Okay, so that's what I put in here. Now, here's the kicker. You have to turn on TLS in order for this to work, at least from my experience so far, because I think that all of this uses SSL, and because it's using SSL, you have to turn on transport layer security. Okay, so TLS is on. This is something that we don't normally do. It's not something that we always do mining. You know, I don't think I've ever even turned it on for any other project. So anyway, turn that on, apply changes. Give the flight sheet a name. We'll call it Beam YouTube Sunpool. We'll name it the same. And then create a flight sheet. All right, so now we have the flight sheet. So now we're going to go back to workers. Put a check mark next to, oh, what happened there? Put a check mark next to the rig. Needs an update too. Go to the rocket. Flight sheets. Click on Beam YouTube Sunpool, and then apply. Okay, so that should get us back up and running and mining Beam, and then what we should be able to do is go to the pool, and then we'll look at the payouts and how that works. So let me check the chat while the rig is rebooting. Yeah, Serpent, that is what stopped us last time. And I verified that turning it on and off produces the same symptom that we were getting, I think it was Monday night, where the miner just seems to stop. Everything looks right, and it does the GPU, the initial like GPU identification in the Mini Z miner, and then it just hangs right there and it never goes past it. And as soon as, now we didn't experience that in simple mining because of the string. The string specified SSL, so it kind of overrode what we were doing in HiveOS. It was just two different configuration strings, right? And then if you want to know like what this thing is actually sending, let me do a refresh here and see if this is working. Looks like it is. And that'll increase probably to about 103 souls per second, I believe. But if you put a check mark next to the rig and then go, or actually if you go to the rig and then come over here to miner actions and then go miner config and let this run, then you can kind of see, you'll be able to understand what is being fed to the miner for its configuration. So once it's done like that, you click on miner config, and then you can see right here, there were two things. Actually, you know what, Serpent? There were two things. One was this parameter right here was one of the problems because it was saying, what was it saying? 150,5 was what the miner was presenting on the screen, like if you went into the console. So it had that wrong, and then plus it also had no SSL, right? So the TLS wasn't selected in the miner config, so it was just hanging. It just wouldn't go any further than that. So this is what is being passed to the miner, and you can see the SSL right here. So that's what's important. All right, so let's go over here to the pool. Let me grab my address again real quick. And if we go to the pool and we go to miner stats, and we can throw in our address here, you can see that I was mining earlier, and I did that on purpose so that I could get enough beam to actually withdraw. Because I think that there's like a limit. I think it's one beam, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. So this all should change here and be updated here pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. See how it changed now. It knows that the rig is actually talking to the pool again, so that's good. Then if you go to right here, okay, so this is the cool part. So let's say you're mining for a week straight. You're not, you might go to the pool. You might go to this pool to actually check on your status, you know, your balance and all that stuff. You could even link an API to like a spreadsheet or something just to fire it up from wherever to check to make sure that your balance is increasing and you're mining and everything is good, right? So, but let's say that maybe once a week you want to come in here and pull your beam and withdraw your beam. Then the private key is what you need in order to start this process. So remember, you've got the public key that you're mining to, right? Your public address that we put into the miner config. But you also have the private key that was on that screen, you know, the first screen to out here, and you'll see that this is totally different numbers now. So you only need to do it one time. You just need to document it one time. But it's totally different now. But the private key that's associated with this public key is what you need, right? And I have that documented from before. So I'm going to come back over here. There might be a quicker way of doing this, but anyway. So I'm going to look this back up. Now I'm going to go and copy my private key that's associated with that public key and paste it in here. And what I thought was really cool, because I did this earlier, I was worried about showing you guys. I was like, you know, I can just generate a new one. But what the pool operators did, and whoever did this website, they made it to where it's masked, right? So it's actually pretty cool. So you paste it in there and it doesn't show it to you. But it does say that it's correct, right? So now you get to put in, okay, so I want my receiving address, which can be your desktop wallet, right? So I'm gonna go in here and look at my addresses. I wanna throw it into my mining address, so I'm gonna copy that. So then we're gonna paste the mining address in there. That's in my desktop wallet. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. Hopefully I'm not losing you guys, because this is where I want to send the beams that I've been mining. I want it to go into this wallet. All right. So then we are going, it tells you here some important notes. Check your receiving address, wallet, make sure your wallet's online, of course, and then transfer fee. Okay, send payment request. So let's do it. Everything looks legit. All right, so my wallet is online, so I got 179.8 in here now. So we are going to let that rock and see what happens. I haven't done this before, so I don't know how long it takes, but it shouldn't take that long, I don't think. But as you saw at the top there, whenever we, why did I close that? So whenever we were first looking at Sunpool, it says right here, if you need, this is an EU server, okay? So if you're in the US and you're hitting Germany, let me show you something. If you go to, let's copy, let's see here. Let's copy this right here. So we're gonna go to the command prompt. And we are going to type ping that address, and then -T, and that'll basically constantly ping it until you stop it. So you can see right here, the milliseconds is what we're looking at. Basically, I think the general rule is for talking to a pool and communicating and sending data to a pool, you want to be somewhere under 100. You don't want to be over 100 milliseconds, because you can end up generating late data to the pool. You're going to be submitting shares, and your data is going to be lagging everybody else's, basically. So you might get rejected shares or invalid shares. So you can see right here, it's pretty consistently above 120. So I personally would not want to mine to this pool because of that. And actually, while we're talking about it, let's go back over here and check and see if we've got any rejected shares. Not yet. Wow, that's pretty low. Pretty low souls per second. But anyway, I don't know if I've got any. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to get distracted here, guys. All right, sorry. All right, so that is a little bit of a problem, right? So you saw over here where they were saying on Sunpool, if you need to mine to the US, right here, go to beam acepool.top, okay? So if we copy that, and then we go ping like this. So remember, we were at 125 milliseconds on Sunpool, and on Acepool we are at pretty low, 58, 56, under 60 milliseconds. So that is pretty good. That's a pretty good connection there. Pretty good time there. Oops, now one timed out. I don't know. That could be because of all the other stuff I'm doing on my computer, I guess. But all right, so long story short, I would probably recommend using Acepool, which would basically be the same thing. And you can see the interface if you go to Acepool. So check out this interface here. So we're going to go over here to Acepool. It's the same. Now apparently they're not related, or not, they just point to each other. See right here, do you need an EU pool? So I don't know if it's maybe just two different pool operators. I don't know what the deal is, but they do point to each other based on their location, right? And so I think that's kind of cool. And if you're in the US, I would use this pool. Basically everything looks like it's the same as far as how to retrieve the beam and all that. So I think that's pretty solid. This is an option to LeafPool, right? Because LeafPool, the benefit of LeafPool is that capability, is being able to tell them when you want your payout. and it looks like Sun Pool and Ace Pool have also nailed that down and have a good process in place to get a payout of Beam. So you can see right here, it did pay out. It did enter my wallet. 1.65 beams. So if we went to the pool, probably won't be there anymore, right? All right, so available balance is 0. So we got them all off of there, total paid. There we go. I got a little bit of unconfirmed. I'll probably let it rock and get another payout here. But anyway, good grief, I've been talking and talking and talking. This has been a long stream, actually. A lot longer than I wanted it to be. Jay Bohannon, no, mine still blocks ads, but I have an ad blocker though. I have ABP, Ad Block Plus. So it does the blocking for me. And YouTube, I still get ads in YouTube though. So, Unknown Crypto, I just went over it, man. I mean, I just told you. Thanks, though. How do we mine Beam? I just told you. All right. So yeah, that's an option. I think it's a good option. Now, as far as like hitting blocks and stuff, you saw that clearly it was working. As far as some blocks, it looks like, I can tell you this. Earlier today, whenever I was looking at this, I don't think they had anywhere near 51 miners on it. I think they only had a couple, like less than 10 whenever I first looked at it earlier today. So you can see that they are moving up, probably because of that one feature. The one feature of what I just showed you with the payouts. I guarantee you that has a lot to do with it, because messing around with the other pools that don't support that kind of capability, it's just a mess. Like the automatic payouts and having to have your wallet online and getting transactions canceled. You don't want to see that stuff, right? So this is actually, it's a little bit more, it takes a little bit more effort, because you do have to get in there and actually tell it to pay you out, but you could let it go for a week, right? You could do it 4 times a month and be good to go. So now I'm not sponsored or anything by this pool, the Sun Pool or the Ace Pool. I just found them and I thought that it was a cool aspect of their operation to be able to determine the payouts. I mean, they could close tomorrow. I don't know. So use them at your own risk. I just figured I would relay the information to you because it is an option. And I do like the fact that Sun Pool is actually moving up. I don't see Ace Pool. Yeah, Ace Pool's down there at number 12. They only have 4 miners on there. Been a couple of days since I hit a block. That's not good. Sun Pool actually hit 5, it looks like, recently. So that's not bad. Even with that, the delay, the millisecond, being over 120 milliseconds, it still seems pretty good for me to mine to it. It didn't seem like I wasn't dropping shares or anything like that. So, anyway, use them both at your own risk. Yeah, I think the only way you can get rid of YouTube ads is to have YouTube Premium or something. All right, so the Crypto Cave, I'm still working on, because there's actually, it's not Crypto Cave. We're gonna name it the Savage Vault. I did a poll on Twitter, and that's what people were saying. It was like, the Vault sounds better, so I renamed it. It's gonna be, I don't know what the Rambler is, but if you're talking about the mining cave thing like you're talking about there, the where I'm going to put all the rigs, that's going to be called the Savage Vault. And oh, you're talking about pools or something, right? Remember Crypto Cave? I don't know. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I was getting distracted because I thought you were talking about me moving the mining rigs into the closet and what we were going to name it and all that stuff. Okay, but yeah, it's going to be called the Vault. I've got some content that I'm going to do on that. Pretty excited about it actually, because it's something I see people asking about. So I want to, but I gotta like really collect the information and put together a good video. So it won't be a live stream or anything like that. It'll be an actual video. All right, guys. Man, I've talked too much. I got to get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I will probably I will probably do more Beam tomorrow, most likely. But tomorrow might be the end of the Beam stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. We'll figure it out between now and then. I might be on playing some poker, so if you want to do that, the links are in the description down there. I'll fire up a table, and if anybody shows up, we can play for a little bit. Not very long, though, because I have work tomorrow, actually. All right, so yeah, the link's in the description under CryptoTubers charity poker tournament details, and that card room. Once you join that card room and you fire up PokerStars, I think it lets you know whenever there's a table like running. And we can just play, it's just play money. It's not real money or anything, like just goofing around. But that same card room is where you register for the tournament that's coming up on, the charity tournament that's coming up on July 11th. So that's what you'll want to do. There's two things, right? So we can play just regular old play money chips, just little like table, regular cash game kind of thing. But there's also the tournament that you have to register for. You don't have to, but you can register for the tournament too, and do the donation and get registered and all that stuff. So all the rules and the details, not rules, but the details for the tournament are actually in that Google Docs that's in the description. So check that out if you're interested at all. You can donate and not play too, right? So if you just want to donate to a charity, that's fine. But the way it'll work is I think the first, depending on the number of players, the first 2 or 3 players will get a percentage of the overall donations sent to their charity of choice, right? So that's the way it'll work. Anyway, I'll ramble on and on if you let me. I will see y'all tomorrow night. Stay savage, everybody.